And we are live. How you doing, Mets fans, Yanks fans, whoever you're a fan of? It's your boy Wardy. That is Pat Hennessy, better known as Unhinged Pat, and we're coming at you with our latest Bridging the Gap podcast, which will be an official Mets versus Yanks Subway Series show. Pat and I haven't done a show in a hot minute here, and since then, a lot has transpired with both the Yankees and the Mets here. Pat is our Yankee representative. I am, of course, our Mets representative to all my live viewers here on YouTube at WardyNYM, the largest Mets platform, not directly affiliated with Mets or SNY. You guys know me already. A lot of you guys don't know Pat. For the ones that do, you either love or hate him. There's kind of no in between. And we got a lot to get into in this series matchup between these two teams. Pat, how are you doing today, my friend? How's everything been?
I'm doing good. Yeah, long time no see. We haven't spoken probably in about, I don't know, maybe a little over a month. But a lot has changed, right? Like the Mets found Grimace. The Yankees are kind of like trying to stay afloat, but still the best team in baseball. Wardy is a father. Congrats, Wardy. Love to see that.
Thank you.
What else is new? Yeah, I don't know. I guess we have like a really fun little 2-game series ahead of us this week.
So, speaking of 2-game series, let's just start right there. Where do you stand in regards to it being a 2-game series when the teams barely match up and they're right down the block from each other? Would you prefer if it was a 3 or a 4-game set, considering they play each other so little, or are you fine with it being 2 games?
No, I think I like the 2 games in each ballpark, but I liked how they used to do it. I don't know how many years they do, but I know they did it before where it was like consecutive, like a 4-game series, but the first 2 were at Citi Field and then like the next 2 were at Yankee Stadium, and it was just like a complete 4-day stretch. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then I think they also experimented with the idea where it was like they did 3 games at Citi Field and then 3 games at Yankee Stadium, and now they've kind of settled at like 2 and then like the next month 2. I kind of like the 4 consecutive though.
Yeah, I like the 4 consecutive too. It has a cooler vibe to it, in my opinion. And, even going back to, a highlight that I'm going to show shortly to you all that really kickstart our friendship and, our relationship, it went in hand with those 4 games as well. But before I do that, I do just want to ask everybody watching live on a replay, hit that like and subscribe button for you guys. Greatly appreciated. And of course, make sure to check out the previous content. We came out with a new show that was live on the Bleacher Report app, and I posted it after I went live here on YouTube, breaking down Mets trade deadline predictions at this point in the season. A lot more content rolling out for you guys this week, including post-game shows the next couple days between the Mets and the Yankees. And Pat here, Pat, I want to know what's been going on in your life. Anything crazy since the last time that we spoke outside of Yanksland?
Well, I saw somebody in the chat said, Pat, you embarrassed yourself for the Dodgers game. Like, I don't know what that means. Like, I went to the Yankees-Dodgers game. I got tormented by Dodger fans because the stadium was about 67% Dodger fans.
Isn't that like brutal to go to your own home park and you're the little brother in it? It's not fun.
Yeah, and then, Teoscar Hernandez hit a grand slam. But other than that, I am so insanely confident in my New York Yankees, despite the fact they've been sliding a little bit. I'm just feel so good about this team, and it's everything that I told you before the season started. Bro, we had so many of like those the Bridging the Gap episodes leading into the season. And I kept saying, bro, the Yankees rotation's better than you think, better than you think, better than you think. And now here we are. And I think they're really gonna prove it to you firsthand this Tuesday, this Wednesday, when they kind of walk into Citi Field, my aces, my co-aces, Garrett Cole, Luis Heel, and they don't even give up a single run to a brutal, feeble New York Mets lineup.
Pat, we're 3 minutes and 50 seconds in the show, and you're already saying nonsense.
How is that nonsense?
This is why Mets fans are like, dude, buddy, get him off the show. I don't care that he's a Yanks fan. It doesn't matter. Get him out of here. And to that answer, I agree. I tend to. Because you talk about Garrett Cole, you talk about Luis Heel. We're going to get into the pitching matchups here in just a second. The same way, Pat, you thought you were right about the Baltimore Orioles losing their series to the Yanks this past week, right? Buddy. The same way the first time they matched up, I told you the O's are going to win at least 2 out of 3, and you didn't listen. And it happened again. He got curb stomped 7-5. Your rubber game, and you're gonna talk all the talk right now. How about
that game doesn't count. It
doesn't. Oh, of course it doesn't count. Yes,
dude,
the same way that Garrett Cole going only 4 innings made absolutely no sense to you, but made sense to everyone else in the Yankee fan base. No, don't miss me with the no nonsense, Pat. We're not going on these tangents. I'm just letting everyone hear what they need to hear. I need to inform you on what's going on with these two teams right
All
now
right, well,
as
dude,
we
at
look at
least
this
my
matchup.
closer isn't suspended for 10 games.
Oh,
Okay?
wow. Nice
Yeah.
flex. Yes, because we don't get Yankee privilege. And even when we have a multi-time offender rather, and Herman Parmy, I'm butchering on the name right now.
Yeah, you're
Domingo
flustered.
Herman. I'm not flustered. It's just hilarious. Domingo Herman gets told to wash his hands. Clark Schmidt gets told to wash his hands. Edwin Diaz, who's never been an offender at any point in his career, just comes off the injured list a week or so ago, and he gets an automatic 10 game. They don't even give him an opportunity to try to showcase, why this was just a fluke type situation. And he said it himself post game yesterday. He's not going to change anything about how he prepares to pitch because he did nothing wrong. So no, miss me with if we want to talk about cheating in the Yanks, holy shit, cheese and wine, a perfect matchup. I mean, Aroyd, let's go down the list. Pat, we got all day. We got your savior. Yes, is one of the biggest crooks in MLB history. We will go there. Yes, he is.
No, he was set up for, okay.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
It's fine. It
doesn't matter, Pat. Doesn't matter. What does matter is how the Yanks have been playing. So I got to ask you, the Yanks are 3-10 over the past 10 games. In the month of June, you guys offensively have still been doing plenty. You're currently ranked 9th per Fangraphs in overall offense. And on the pitching end, you guys have struggled a bit more there. You're currently ranked 19th since the start of June. What are the main factors for that, would you say, on both the pitching end with the lack of consistency there lately and on the offensive end? And again, I don't mean it a joke when I'm talking about the Orioles and now the Braves. I'm genuinely asking, what do you think went wrong there? You think it's just you're playing really good teams and you're not having a great stretch right now and that's it? Or do you think that there's a little bit more to this aspect of the Yanks losing 7 of the past 10?
Listen, Mr. Warden, for those who are unfamiliar with the New York Yankees, it seems like every year around this time, the Yankees start to go on like a little bit of a slide. I would say like the month of June and then leading into the All-Star break, even like, bro, the summer months, it seems like the Yankees always kind of collapse a little bit after having a hot start. But I guess if we could attribute it to one thing, it's just, I don't want to say bad luck because it's like just an easy cop out. It's just everyone's kind of struggling at the same time. And I think the Yankees' flaws are being exposed, right? Like going into the season, we knew that Judge and Soto and Stanton, those are the 3 guys in the lineup that you're going to need to produce heavily. And they have. And now Stanton's obviously out for the next 4 weeks or so, but that's
sucks.
a very
I'm not happy about that. I wish he was
having a
playing
great year.
He was killing it. I know. Yes.
I know. But yeah, it's like you have obviously Judge and Soto doing their thing, being MVP candidates, but then you look at the bottom half of the Yankees lineup and they just haven't been productive. And then I think if you have circumstances where Judge has to sit out a couple games or Soto has to sit out a couple games, or maybe they just aren't lighting the world on fire every single game, then you start to see the offense kind of suffer as a result. And I think as far as pitching goes, I just a couple outlier starts for some guys, right? Like Carlos Rodon got shelled, even though he's having a great year. Luis Gil got shelled by the Orioles, and that was really the only bad start of the season so far. So while I'm not gonna like sit here and make excuses, I think it's just a slump, right? And every team goes through them. But I do think that it's beneficial for the Yankees to go through this slump now because their flaws are being exposed ahead of the trade deadline. And hopefully maybe it opens up some eyes in the front office for potential acquisitions.
I agree with you on that final statement, especially. Yes, if your team's going to go through the ebbs and flows of 162, if you're going to see those guys really get exposed, you want it to happen kind of around this time, especially a month away from the trade deadline. So I do agree with you there. And even though the Yanks have not been playing their best baseball as of late, putting my Mets cap bias aside, you guys 100% are still destined to have one of the best seasons out of all teams in the major league this season. That's why these Subway Series are so exciting, especially when both teams are playing well. Yes, the Yanks haven't been playing great so far in the month of June, the way that the Mets have, currently leading all Major League Baseball with a high of 13 wins right now. And the Mets offensively have flipped the script from a miserable May to a joyful June. They are currently ranked 2nd in all the National League and 4th in all Major League Baseball in offense and number 1 in Team WRC Plus since June 1st. And pitching-wise, they rank 16th, so right around the middle of the pack in Major League Baseball. And when you see both these teams firing on all full cylinders, I wish Stanton was in this matchup. I love the head-to-head between himself
He
and
loves Citi
Lindor.
Field
You
too.
know, and it's so much fun. I know he's hit baseballs at Citi Field that very few other batters have done. Acuna has done it a couple times, but Stanton will go again top deck there all the way to left field with absolute ease. I remember when he did it play during his time with the Miami Marlins, right? Any remarks you want to make quick before I
Yeah,
finish what I was
just
gonna
one
say?
quick thing on
Yeah,
Stanton. I feel like when it comes to Stanton, injuries are inevitable. Like, I think
right.
everyone kind of knew, like, there's no way he was going to stay healthy for the entire season. And I think his numbers at the end of the year are still going to come out looking fine as long as this hamstring thing isn't too lingering. But, bro, Giancarlo Stanton gets paid for the months of September and October, and that's where he shines the most. So I think as long as he's healthy then, I think the Yankees are going to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. Stanton, if he comes back and everyone else is firing on all full cylinders, you guys are, again, going to have a run this year. Just a matter of basically how far you're going to go. And that's
Yeah.
where, again, my stance on the Baltimore Orioles, for example, holds true. Because if you guys are not going to be able to handle them during the season, it's really interesting to see how kind of this toe-to-toe matchup for first in the division goes, especially in the second half post-trade deadline and then pushing for playoffs. Like that's entertaining baseball. And
They don't
again,
scare me, though.
I know they don't scare you, but I'm just curious at what point will they? You know, and that's a
I
discussion we
don't
can
know.
have for another day because
Yeah.
again, you've lost your first two series of them this season. First series, I understood a bit because you guys just weren't playing in a groove yet, the same way the Mets were free falling so bad in May. It's all about riding your hot streaks in baseball, obviously, just how frequent do you have them versus your cold streaks. But you know, the second time around, you guys have been playing better baseball. The Orioles just did what they need to do for the most part. They just had a very strong series and won a tight ball game in that one as well. We see Dave with the $2 donation says, "Hey Pat, Soto will be a Met. Don't cry." So I appreciate the
There's no
donation.
way like Mets fans still believe, oh my God, Juan Soto's a Met next year. Wardy, like you as a logical Mets fan, there's no way you're sitting here right now and being like, oh my God, yeah, he's totally coming to Queens because Uncle Stevie's throwing the bag to him. It's delusion.
It's delusion if you think there's zero chance the Mets could sign him.
I
That's
don't think
delusion.
that there's zero, bro. If somebody's a free agent, the freaking Kansas City Royals could sign him.
Let me put it this way. I don't really think there's a chance in hell Soto doesn't sign with the highest bidder, no matter who that is. Could the Yanks end up being the highest bidder and surprise us? Sure, absolutely.
But why would they not be? Why would they not be?
Why would they not be? Because Steinbrenner has shown a stubbornness to go beyond the 300 million with the payroll.
Not for the white whales. And the white whales
that's
are
fine.
Cole, Judge, Soto.
And that's okay. But don't be overly shocked if you have a Steve Cohen being Steve Cohen and saying, this is the one guy I want to make sure we do everything in our power to try to land. Like Yamamoto, where the Mets had more on the table than the Yanks. The only reason why we lost is because Yamamoto got the same deal from the Dodgers and said, hey, how could I not want to play in LA over playing in New York with that roster?
If it comes down to it and the Yankees and Mets offer the same contract,
well, no shit.
There's no way he's picking the Mets over the Yankees.
I agree with you 100%.
Okay, cool,
if the Mets are in the same ballpark as the Yanks, I do not foresee why Soto would have much interest coming here. But if the Mets give him an additional anywhere from 20, 30, 50 plus million, then we have ourselves a little bit of a different discussion, because that is where Soto may prioritize the bag, because he's already won a championship. He has the personal accolades. He's done everything he could have wanted to do in his career. Like, he could retire today, and there are serious Hall of Fame debates about Juan Soto, who is still on the right side of in his 20s, you know? So it's a fascinating discussion to get into, and we will have that plenty this offseason, absolutely. But now, let's talk about one specific thing before we get into these pitching matchups, and that is, of course, what has been going on with our history of our relationship. And for those that don't know, Pat and I kicked things off over 3 years ago, basically doing what we're doing now, collaborating Mets Yankees. And our final segment of the day is the favorite Subway Series moments we have in our personal lifetime. And while I have many, and I'm going to discuss a different one at the end of the show, I do have to start the show, however, with one that stands out, that really puts everything together with how the two of us really blended and became the friends that we are at the moment. And that is right here. And shout out to Sower MLB as always. We're going to transition into a quick Sower ad read after this one. Not really an ad read, more so an awesome giveaway we're doing for Mets tickets and also for your chance to get involved at the MLB All-Star break. But here it is. This is Pat and I. We're going all the way back to the 2021 matchup between the Mets and the Yankees. And this is our watch party. And this is Francisco Lindor having the last laugh against Giancarlo Stanton and the Yanks. So, and the 2-0. No! No fucking way! Ah! You knew that was going to happen! You knew that was going to happen! Francisco Lindor 3-home run night! Bang! 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 Oh my God! Shout out to Pat. We're going to get back to him in a second. But before we get back to him, I'm going to tell you guys briefly about our amazing sponsor on the channel. And that is, of course, Sower MLB. For those that don't know Sower MLB, it is simply put the best MLB fantasy game out there. It is free to play. Again, you guys can, of course, play for free. Or you guys can also just make sure that you are playing by using the virtual cards that are available to you all in the Sower MLB game. And as you guys and gals can see right here at Sower MLB, simply put, it is like MLB The Show and combine them and putting them together. So if you guys like to be your own GM of fantasy baseball to build your roster, enter weekly tournaments, Sower MLB is the game for you. And we're doing 2 fantastic promos with them right now, one of which is by simply getting free Mets tickets. And we're giving away tickets to 3 lucky fans. And all you guys got to do to enter is to sign up to Sower MLB today by clicking the unique link in the description down below, 1, and 2, signing up and drafting your team. It is that simple. And as you guys and gals can see right here, the rosters I am repping for this week's tournaments that we have at the moment. Oh, that's the marketplace. My mistake. Hopping back in here just for a second, everybody. I have 2 rosters at the moment, and I have them looking really good because my last tournament, I did unbelievably well in these ones. I ranked 21st out of over 2,100 people, and I ranked 695 out of over 9,300 people. My teams absolutely killed it for me, and I got awesome giveaways and really awesome upgraded cards in doing so in said tournaments. But what you guys have to do now to enter not only for the Mets ticket giveaways is to sign up, but secondly, if you guys want a chance to get involved on the best All-Star break promo imaginable right now, you will not find this one any other product anything remotely close to what Sower MLB has to offer. Listen up right now, folks, because with the official MLB All-Star Collection event, you have now just again for a short time ended. Oh, actually, I apologize, everybody. The collection event has officially ended, so we will find out who those winners were. But just to enlighten you all on what it was, because it must have just ended over this past day now, if you guys build your collection score in the game where you add multiple cards on one specific team of at least 150, you're automatically entered for your chance to then win basically a free ride to the MLB All-Star break. And we did that for 5 lucky winners. They will be announced in the coming days. And if you are selected, you will be reached out by Sower MLB themselves. But again, folks, check out Sower MLB. We're doing amazing stuff with them for all your MLB fantasy needs. Now let's hop right back into the show here. Wrong slide again. My apologies, everybody. I keep bouncing from one thing to the next. Pat, do you hear me?
I hear you, Wardy.
Okay, Pat. Me? Yes. Do you have any remarks that you would like to talk about in regards to that Subway Series matchup 3 years ago between Lindor and Giancarlo Stanton?
You know, I look back at that game sometimes, and I stop watching after the Giancarlo Stanton home run because I don't like to remember the Lindor 3 home run game. Because you know what? While it was a great day because you and I, we had a nice little watch party. It was also very traumatizing. I remember going to sleep that night, thinking to myself, wow, I've been telling Wardy this whole time that I'm the captain, and maybe I'm not. So that's kind of what
a harsh reality. If you know,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yes, if you guys are OGs on the channel, you know the meaning behind the captain there. But all right, guys, we talked about the Mets and the Yanks' latest play. The Mets have been rolling. They have won 8 of their past 10 games. Again, a month high right now with 13 wins, leading all Major League Baseball, especially the National League there. And we have a very exciting matchup with the Mets team, a couple games below 500 right now, versus the Yanks team well above 500, leading the way first in the AL East, still by a game and a half on top of the Baltimore Orioles currently. And as we have our first matchup, which is tomorrow, Tuesday at the time of recording this, we got Garrett Cole making his second start back from his injury for 4.5 ERA because he gave up a couple runs and 4 innings against the Baltimore Orioles. Facing off against David Peterson, our young southpaw, who's 3-0 on the season with a 3.97 ERA. Peterson, Pat, because I'm sure you're probably going to wonder what is there to know about David Peterson's game a little bit. Young southpaw came back from hip surgery this season, started the year late with us. When he's right, he's confusing because he started the season as more of a ground ball pitcher, inducing those ground ball outs with those sinkers and not being as reliant on his slider and that fastball to really get the swing and miss. But his past start, he looked like peak 2022 David Peterson, which was a very solid and savvy strikeout southpaw. He was using that back foot slider as well, beautifully against righties, going down and away to those lefties as well, and working that fastball when needed upon. But David Peterson, he's been a little up and down so far this season. Definitely a guy that will be susceptible to giving up the lawn ball at times, but he will be looking to not only strike out these Yanks batters, but also have control of his pitches, not have a high walk rate, something he's struggled with in the past, and ultimately induce those ground outs, as I'm sure that we're going to want to see Peterson try to do here. So I talked about DP and what there is to know about him, and lighted me on Garrett Cole and how he looked in his first start back. And truthfully, again, bias aside, what you kind of anticipate in this matchup against a red-hot Mets lineup right now, quite literally one of the best offenses, if not the best in Major League Baseball since the start of June.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I think in Garrett Cole's first start back, I expected more pitch count wise, which you and I kind of briefly touched on before. Bro, Yankees fans ripped me to shreds for being like, yo, why isn't Garrett Cole going longer? I believe in his first start back, I want to say he went 62 pitches. And I think the success of this start tomorrow is really just going to depend on how long can Cole go. Because I'm very firmly confident that he's going to pitch well. It just matters, is he going to go 4 again? Is he going to go 5? Is he going to be able to go 6? Because to be honest, I'm not that confident in the Yankees bullpen to the point where if Cole only gives you 4 innings, I'm not extremely confident in them enough to be like, yo, the Yankees bullpen can walk in there and hold a 1-run lead for 5 innings. That's just not happening. So I think tomorrow really just comes down to how long is Cole going to be able to go? And I think if I had to make a prediction, I don't know, let's say like 5 2/3.
5 2/3 of scoreless baseball, or do you think he gives up a run or two?
Maybe he gives up like a solo shot to like, I don't know, like your boy Mark Vientos.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. Okay, so just under 6 innings of 1 earned run ball. Yeah, that'd be good. I'm here to enlighten you. I don't think that's going to happen. And the reason why I don't think that's going to happen is because the Mets have been pouncing on these pitchers early lately. Can we just take a moment to appreciate? I know they're completely different styled pitchers. I know he's much more of a soft tosser, but Shota Imanaga giving up 10 earned runs just a couple days ago.
There's no comparison there at all.
I mean, there is, because Shota Imanaga is a very good pitcher, and the Mets absolutely lit up his tits. Solidified? I mean, yes, he's been pitching for over a decade in the MPB. Yes, he's far more solidified than a rookie nowadays. Yeah,
he's a rookie.
He is, and he's been carving up batters this season. What's your point?
How many Cy Youngs does he have?
I'm sorry. Okay, so that's like the Paul Skeens discussion. So, Paul Skeens isn't good because he's a rookie? Is that how we're going to play this nonsense? Because we can go there.
No, but they're not.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to go there because you don't want to upset Livy Dunn. You don't want to hurt those chances, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly.
You called her Lizzie or something. Her name is Lizzie.
Because I'm busy with being a newborn dad. I don't give a shit about someone else's girlfriend the way that you might, Pat. I'm sorry. That's the difference between the two right now. I got dad life to figure out at the moment.
I'm a dad too, Wardy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dave with the $2 donation says JD Davis, Pat. That's a good point. We haven't even got to the JD Davis talk. We will shortly.
Can we talk about that?
We will in a minute. Let's talk about JD Davis after we wrap up the pitching here, because I don't want to deviate from how this is going to be structured if I put timestamps in and everything. So, starting pitching wise, David Peterson obviously isn't the favorable starter between himself and Garrett Cole. That's a game where if the Mets do drop, I could see it being that game, honestly. Because while Luis Gil did get lit up his last time out there, he has been fantastic. He's looking like a potential Rookie of the Year favorite out of the American League so far this season. So, yeah, for the Mets here, I just want them to continue to do what they've been doing. And one guy that has seen plenty of Garrett Cole in his career and has had success, especially during his time with the Boston Red Sox, JD Martinez has been on an absolute heater for the past month plus for the Mets at the DH position. Him, Pete Alonso stepping up. Francisco Alvarez has been raking lately over the past week especially. The big boppers are going to come to play in this series. And, not to mention Francisco Lindor too. So I'm really looking forward to that Game 1 matchup. For Cole, I'm curious to see how his location is going to be with that pinpoint accuracy. And two, to your point, how deep in the ball game is he going to go? Are the Mets going to be able to rough him up early? And if so, how does he rebound? Does he still go another 4 or 5 strong innings if it happens in the first 2? Or does he really get shelled from there? I have a lot of questions for Cole and how he's going to look, and I'm really excited for that matchup. The same way
You're just a hater, bro.
I think
that's what it comes down to.
I'm just a hater the same way you hate the Mets, Pat. It is,
I don't hate
it is
the
what it
Mets.
is.
I don't hate the Mets.
You don't hate the Mets, but us Mets fans hate the Yanks a lot. And it does go in hand, I think, to a degree with the lopsidedness and the success level from teams, organization, going back to the dawn of everything. So
maybe, but
for me, I hate Garrett Cole for things that go beyond Garrett Cole being a Yankee. I don't like Garrett Cole going back to his time manipulating Spider Tack and getting himself an absolute beauty of a Cy Young looking man that he is during his time with the Houston Astros. I don't like Garrett Cole going.
He didn't get a Cy Young with the Astros.
No, I know, but he was in that mix though. Wasn't he a finalist if he didn't win?
Yeah. With Verlander, but he didn't win.
Yeah, but that was my point though.
So what happened last year though?
For Cole, I haven't really liked Cole since everything came out and came to light with the Astros. Not the cheating scandal, but what they got caught with sticky substance abuse. Because they were really at the helm and the heart of it, which is why Trevor Bauer, again, his former teammate at UCLA, where they didn't like each other, Bauer, obnoxiously put it, I'm going to use it and win a Cy Young in the short 2020 season with the Reds as kind of an FU to Rob Manfred in the MLB for allowing certain stars to get away with this versus others not getting away with it. There wasn't consistency. The same way Edwin Diaz getting thrown out of the game because there's no consistency with this kind of stuff, right? So that's why I feel the way I do about Garrett Cole. Then you add in, he sounds like a Kermit. He has no aura after losing the beard and the type of hair. He looks so much better as an Astro. I'd even argue he looked better as a Pirate. I really would. I don't think he has looked the same during his time with the Yanks. He's been dominant. You could say he's been the best pitcher he's ever been right now or close to. But to suggest that Garrett Cole has aura, it would be foolish. And anyone that isn't a Yanks fan would say the exact same thing.
Dude, obviously I would say he had more aura, when he had the beard and long hair. Sure, he looked a lot cooler. But dude, he's whatever. No, because it's like talking apples and oranges. No, because I can sit here and give you every stat in the world to show he's the best pitcher in
Holy shit, bud! No one said he was. No one said. Care. Pat, why do I need to care? All I care about is the Mets beating up on him.
So I don't like him.
That's not the point, Pat.
He's a dad too, Wardy. You should bond over that.
That's not how that works either. Some dads are schmucks. Garrett's probably one of them. It is what it is.
Oh,
the dagger. Oh, no.
I see a red button right here.
Straight out of Saving Private Ryan, the slow death. Okay. Let's talk about game 2 of this matchup while we're still rolling here. Luis Gil. He got his tits lit his last time out there. Prior to that, he's been absolutely brilliant this season. Please tell me what has been so good about Luis Gil this season, which has made him such a breakout and a revelation for a Yanks rotation as desperately needed it to a degree, with Garrett Cole being on the shelf as long as he's been, as he's facing off now against veteran southpaw Sean Manaea in said matchup.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, if you want to whip out the key statistic that I like the most, or a plus, Luis Gil
that was so corny.
He's the king of aura, bro. But I think just on the mound wise, Gil has always had this stuff, right? And I think it really just came down to him being able to nail his command and his control. And I think we've kind of started to see him finally execute that properly this year. And bro, it's just something about him. It screams ace. And I think you and I talk about it pretty often where you view Luis Gil as a better pitcher than Garrett Cole. And I think it's kind of crazy because when Garrett Cole went down before the season started, Gil was a main pitcher we looked at in terms of if the Yankees rotation is going to be able to stay afloat without Cole, a guy like Gil is going to have to step up and be a solid 4, be a solid 3. Hell, maybe even his peak is being a good number 2, but we've seen him step up, and aside from this Orioles start, which I'm not counting because as of right now it's an outlier, he has been the Yankees ace this season.
Is it fair to say that it's not an outlier though, considering it was a very good team that beat up on him? Can you?
No, but it's an outlier start, bro. No, because you look at his game logs, and bro, that's an outlier start.
That's the most box score in freaking casual fan shit I've ever heard.
That's what outlier means.
I know he's an out. I know that start is an outlier. Yes, but I'm saying he hasn't played a team as good as the Orioles, and the
That's just not
Orioles did what the
true.
Orioles do. What team is better than the Orioles that Luis Gil has faced
Do you
this
want me to
season?
start pulling out what teams he's
It's
faced so far this year?
but I'm just saying the Orioles are the best team he played, and they absolutely lit his ass
Okay,
up.
buddy. All right, buddy. Let's go through the game logs. Haha. So he has faced the Diamondbacks. Oh, wouldn't you say that the Diamondbacks are a pretty good team? They
Yes,
win the
but
World
they're not
Series
better
last
than the
year.
Orioles.
All right.
Apples and oranges.
Diamondbacks, Blue Jays, Rays, Brewers, Orioles. Bro, his first start against the Orioles, he went 6 1/3, gave up no earned runs. He faced the Astros, the Rays, the White Sox, the Mariners.
Okay,
the
so
Angels.
wait. All that other stuff means nothing. Oh, there's a lot of trash you just listed.
Dude,
Wait,
but you're
no, let
sitting
me
here
finish.
being
Let
like,
me
oh,
finish.
he finally faced the Orioles. He crumbled.
Pat, you're here.
I know. It happens
I need you
often.
here.
I'm sorry.
I know. People tend to get aggressive when they're always wrong.
It's crazy.
Sorry.
And then you wonder. It's like, dude, no. You know what it's like. You know what it's like.
Wait, I was
like,
about to agree with you.
Stop,
With my point.
Your mom
Luis
tells
Gil,
you.
I didn't
your
know
mom
he
tells
played
you,
the.
Don't rile up
more
the
than
dog,
once.
and you say, "I'm gonna rile up the dog
Yes.
anyway."
No,
Go.
I'm 100% that person where they're like, "Oh, don't pet it," and I pet it, and then it bites me, and I'm like, "Oh, why did that happen?" Luis Gil, I didn't know he faced the Orioles separately this season, so I apologize about that. I retract my remark. But that was a fun couple 2 minutes for people to witness live on a replay. So it's okay.
Sorry for headphone users.
So Heal's been awesome. You know, I talked about him a couple weeks ago on Bleacher Report, and I said that I think he's leading the way for AL Rookie of the Year right now. He has been absolute nails for them in their rotation, and a revelation, to say the least. Sean Manaea, who's been pretty serviceable for us this season, just over a 4 ERA this year. The biggest issue with Sean Manaea is that even though he's been awesome with that sweeper, with that sinker when those pitches are working right, but it's a 5 and dive pitcher, which is what Sean Manaea is. So even if the Mets get the best out of Sean and his start, which honestly, I don't know what to expect because this is a Yanks team that I think could eat him up pretty well. Quite frankly, if he's not pinpoint with his accuracy, he's probably not going to go past 5 innings. So after losing Edwin Diaz now for, unfortunately, the next 10 days, because he's likely not going to appeal, I'd imagine. We'll see what happens on that front. You're down a bullpen spot for the next 10 games, including these 2 against the Yanks. We just lost Sean Reed-Foley, one of our more serviceable relievers who has a sub-2 ERA this year, eats multiple innings. He's been awesome for us in getting out of jams. Basically what Michael Tonkin has become for you guys that he wasn't with the Mets this season, because we won, we're cutthroat with Tonkin early and threw him, in situations that weren't ideal. And secondly, he just didn't locate with us. And it took, his third team in the Yanks and, Blake over there to get him right and fine tune his arsenal. And that's great and all for Tonkin, but the Mets are down 2 of their top relievers in their bullpen at the moment. So with a lack of depth that they're likely going to get from Sean Manaea, and of course there, David Pearson in game 1, my big concern in this matchup from a Mets fan point of view isn't as much the starting pitching itself, but the bullpen and how taxed it may become. Like, yes, they have an off day today. Yes, they have an off day Thursday. The Mets do. I'm sure the Yanks do as well. It doesn't change the fact that it's not an ideal situation for 2 guys that likely aren't going to go deep in the ballgame.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that the pitching matchups are really interesting because on paper they seem really lopsided, but I think if you dig into it a little bit more, the Yankees struggle against left-handed pitching. So dude, like we might see a Sean Manaea masterclass for all we know.
Oh, are you guys having like a Metsian year? Because we've had many years in the past where we just can't hit a lick against some lefties.
A little bit. But I think the key component here is that I don't know if you want to get into it just yet, but the Yankees have added a guy who's going to be playing against left-handed
no,
pitching.
let's bring that up, because when we talk about who's going to step up this series, let it rip. Who do you think is going to step up this series for the Yanks and why? Talk about JD Davis, and then also talk about, truthfully, the guys that are hot for the Yanks right now that you think will continue, or maybe some guys that aren't too hot right now, but all it takes is a Subway series to really get them going.
Yeah, so obviously, like let's start off by talking about the man of the chat. Everyone's been saying it, JD Davis. He's a New York Yankee. And
it's
obviously,
just hilarious. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
But I think it's kind of interesting because JD Davis is a name that the Yankees were linked to a couple of years ago. I think even when he was on the Mets, there was trade rumors between the 2 teams because he always just seemed like a fit for the Yankees. And now with Rizzo going down and also DJ not playing too well, the Yankees have an opening for JD Davis and signed him. Nice little, I think major league contract. And looks like he's gonna be platooning with Ben Rice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And
who
he'll be
you just
playing.
called up this past week. Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll be playing against left-handed pitching. So I guess we'll see him both games this series. I'm looking forward to it, bro, because if you don't think my man, Mr. JD Davis, is walking into Citi Field with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, playing against his former team, now he's a New York Yankee, coming from the Oakland A's, bro. And I know, like, a lot of people are looking at his stats being like, he fell off this year. He has a 670 OPS. Let's not forget he's been playing for the Oakland Athletics. You take JD Davis, a guy who I would say historically in his career, like, over like 730 OPS, especially during his time with the Mets. He was such an underrated factor of like that 2021 team, 2022 team. Just like a sneaky good bat that plays all around the field. I think throw him into one of the best teams in baseball, the New York Yankees. Surround him with guys like Judge and Soto and Verdugo and just that energy of a Subway Series. I think JD Davis is going to walk into Citi Field tomorrow and give the Mets a little and just have a great series.
That was part of my earmuffs, kiddos. That was fucking absurd. You just did that. You really brought that mainstream into my live show. I am a happy dad. Why do you got to be talking about stuff like this right now?
What's wrong with it?
What is wrong with it? You're Hawk-2ing in our first episode back in Bridging the Gap. For those that don't
that's
know,
what he's gonna do to the Mets this week.
So he's gonna. Is that a bad thing for the Mets? Like what?
Well, yeah, no,
That's
yeah,
like,
I would say so. Yeah,
that's like Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore saying, "I eat shit like you for breakfast," and then Adam Sandler's like, "You eat shit for breakfast?" And he's like,
well, yeah, it's what he's gonna do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. He's gonna Hawk-2 on him. All right. All right. If you know, you know. That's some of the comments are killing me. Okay. So
someone said I almost threw up.
JD Davis hasn't been overly dominant this season. We know that. JD Davis has been, not the guy that necessarily people would have loved him to blossom into during his time in Queens, just because he didn't really realize what a third base glove was. And when you swing right through fastballs at 92 miles per hour, as consistent as JD Davis does, you become JD Davis. But I do want to pull up his numbers here briefly if Fangraphs loads for me, and they do, because the now 31-year-old, let's see here what JD has been doing. Unfortunately, got the short end of the stick that we know by the San Francisco Giants this past offseason. JD was feeling good as a Bay Area kid playing in San Francisco, and they signed Matt Chapman late, and they just cut him outright. We're like, you know what, JD, you haven't been playing bad, but we don't need you. Matt Chapman isn't great, but he's better than you because the bar has been kind of low. And for JD Davis this season with the Oakland Athletics, 4 home runs, 12 runs scored in 39 games, a 236, 304, 366 clip for a 98 WRC plus. So right around a league average hitter, and was just around a league average hitter last year too, 18 home runs in his final year with the Giants. So I have a feeling we're going to have one of those moments. I definitely think we're going to see a JD Davis like RBI double in the gap, and I might be like, that motherfucker, he really did it. Where was this in Queens, JD? Like, the home runs would be great, but then again, so many just meatballs down the pipe. He's swinging under for days. Like that was the biggest frustration with someone like him, especially. But JD Davis, okay, that's the fun story. Now, guys that I think we expect to turn it on out of all these guys, Juan Soto, naturally, I'm expecting to have a huge series. He always does good at Citi Field. Like, he dominates there. I think he's going to put on an absolute show. I really do. Aaron Judge, I honestly don't know how to feel about Judge, just because the Mets have had his upper hand at times at Citi Field in recent years in their matchups.
Have you seen his numbers this year, by the way?
His numbers are insane. Like, you would think it's a full season already. It's not fair. It isn't.
Wild.
It's ridiculous.
I saw somebody put out a tweet where so far he's hitting like over 300, 28 home runs, 72 RBIs, 1,000 plus OPS. And dude, like, that's an quality all-star season for a really good baseball player. There's a chance where he has like 100 RBIs before the all-star break. And also if you kind of like look at the comparison between this year and 2022, where he hit 62 home runs, he's kind of on pace to do the same thing. And also he was awful for the first month or so of the season. And the fact that his numbers are still coming out to this, It's unreal. So yeah, obviously the easy choices there are like the Judges, the Sotos. I think Verdugo is a sleepy pick. He's having a nice little underrated season. But on the Mets side, kind of intrigued to see what you think. Like, who steps up against like the two-headed monster of Cole and Heel?
I think it's a combination of three guys in particular, and these three have really been carrying, not the Mets completely, but they have been huge in their success lately. It's Francisco Lindor, because Lindor, since he started batting leadoff this season, has been one of the best batters in all Major League Baseball and one of, if not the best, in all the National League. He has been on an absolute tear, and he has a roughly just under 900 OPS here in the month of June so far, as we're almost, done with the month already. Mr. Julio, JD Martinez, again, knows the Yanks well, knows Cole well. Of course, Healy doesn't have as much experience with as he does Garrett Cole, but he's been there, done that with these Yanks battles before, especially in the big spotlight. He even just talked about, a quote just came out, how it doesn't care, it doesn't matter to him who he's playing, he just wants to know what time and what pitcher he's facing when asked about this. And he referenced the Red Sox-Yanks matchups, how they always put it on a pedestal, but he was like, to me, I don't care about that. I just want to know who I'm facing so I can try to beat up on.
He's a cool dude.
He's awesome. I've always been a huge fan of Martinez's, even during his time with the Dodgers last year. I was just upset the Mets didn't have him because he rakes everywhere he goes. But I think JDM's going to have a huge series. He's been killing it in the month of June. And Francisco Alvarez. Alvy has been massive for the Mets. The power's been there. He's been doing electric things. I think he's going to be chomping at the bit to face off against both Cole and Heel. Like, Alvy's literally looking at pitchers and like this, like salivating at the mouth, like pitch by pitch.
He's Soto.
Yeah, I mean, he does. But in defense, he kind of is the Soto of catchers. He's quickly becoming that. He is becoming a class now, right with Adley Rutschman as the most talented young backstops in the game today. And
that's fair.
That isn't biased saying that. Like, the numbers actually will all tell you that too. So, yeah, I mean, Alvy's got the swagger. He has an aura that we love and appreciate. He literally has a tattoo that says the best right here on his neck. I mean, similar to Heel. I know Heel has a big fat tattoo right on his neck too. What does it say? It
says, God bless me. I actually just bought a shirt that says that.
Of course he did.
Yeah, shout out Luis Heel.
Yeah, shout out Luis Heel. But those are the guys I think are going to step up big in this series with potentially some heroics by a Jose Iglesias, should we not start Mr. Jeff McNeil both games of this series. And I really hope the Mets don't. But
this might be a conversation for a different day. What happened to Jeff McNeil? Like, he was one of the best.
What happened to DJ LeMahieu? What happened to DJ LeMahieu?
He's old now.
But that's the thing. They're contact hitters that are old, that thrived.
Is McNeil old now, though?
McNeil's 32, 33 already.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like DJ kind of established himself more along his career. Like, DJ was never that 2019, 2020 guy. And I guess McNeil had the same thing. I guess but I don't know. I feel like McNeil came up and he was a 300 plus hitter from the start. Meanwhile, DJ kind of just like regressed back to what he originally was with the Rockies, just a little bit worse.
No, I actually couldn't disagree more, because if you look back at his time with the Rockies, that's when he was peak DJ. He was a contact hitting kid.
No.
Are you kidding
me?
DJ
was 2019, bro.
Then that was like just in the start of his Yankee era there. Like, you got to realize the Yanks picked up DJ LeMahieu after he had some awesome years with the Rockies as a big contact hitter. That's where it stems. You guys didn't just pick him up out of the blue like, no one have an interest in this guy. You picked up DJ LeMahieu because he was a freaking contact god for at least his final couple years in Colorado.
He was definitely good. Like, okay, dude. But
yeah, I'm right. I remember him in Colorado.
His last 2 years in Colorado, he had a 750 OPS and a 783 OPS.
But don't talk about the OPS. I'm talking about
what do you want to look at? Just batting average?
Yeah, contact, because he was huge with his contact game.
Dude, he went from 276 in 2018 to then 327 in 2019.
Did he ever hit the 300 plateau in Colorado?
Yeah, for sure. Like, he had 348 one year, 301, 310.
There we go.
But I think that's why the DJ Jeff McNeil thing is a little bit more confusing, just because I feel like DJ had so many more of those seasons, and he's been playing a lot longer, obviously.
Right.
Meanwhile, McNeil, it seemed like he had a lot more to go before he started to regress to the level he's at now, where he's borderline unplayable.
Yeah. And speaking of borderline unplayable, we went from talking about one bad second baseman. Let's talk about another bad second baseman here, and Mr. Gleyber Torres. What's been going on with Gleyber? McNeil has went from a 2022 batting champ to a bottom 5 OPS in all Major League Baseball. Basically going to be cut as a DFA or traded in the coming days to weeks. what's going on with Gleyber Torres? You know, it feels like a guy the Yanks should have parted with, and now they kind of regret it. Same way with Miguel Andujar, the same way
Yeah.
with Clint Frazier, the same way with everyone. I feel like going back to the late 2010s and early 2020s in Yankee fandom.
Yeah. I think you probably know this, and I think anybody who's like watched my content over the years know this. I've never liked Gleyber Torres. And I think Yankee fans who watch the team on a daily basis can kind of understand why. Because I would say there's definitely been a few years where Gleyber at the end of it all, the stat line, it looks pretty good. He has a solid OPS, decent amount of home runs, but it's the game by game stuff where base running IQ, horrible. The lackadaisical fielding errors and mistakes, brutal. He's just not a joy to watch on a daily basis. And I think coming into the year, we knew that no matter what kind of season Gleyber has, whether he's an all-star, he's an MVP candidate, there's no chance he's coming back to the Yankees next year. It just doesn't make sense, especially with signing Soto. All the other big contracts they already have, they're not handing Gleyber a massive extension. And I think it sucks for him, right? Because in a contract year where he kind of wanted to prove himself and have back-to-back pretty good seasons and then get a long-term deal somewhere, now he's probably going to be looking for like a one-year deal for maybe the New York Mets this offseason. And it would be the most Mets thing to do. Get some Yankee wash up and hope that he could kind of have a little resurgence. But yeah, I mean, best of luck to Gleyber wherever he goes. It's just not going to be with the Yankees next year. And to be honest, I think that there's a scenario where if they find the right deal, he's gone at the deadline.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. If they can get a suitor for him, and you know, handle everything internally, which I'm sure the Yanks can with their current options, or seek an external option that maybe they like a little bit more, okay, by all means, go ahead and do it. But in regards to Gleyber Torres, yeah, he is in a very similar boat to Jeff McNeil, where there two has-been second basemen in New York that both fan bases want out of their organization for the most part, with probably at least 8 out of 10 fans that you will talk to on the street right now. Is that fair to say?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, because again, Gleyber isn't the worst thing in the world, but he's not the Gleyber that the early couple of years of Gleyber Yanks fans
Good
were hoping that they're
comparison.
getting.
I feel like they both up around the same time, too.
Yeah, again, that 2018, 2019 era with the juice baseballs before we got into the pandemic year, and then the baseballs changed drastically in 2021. A lot of manipulation there. Yep, things definitely changed for absolute sure. But all right, guys, before we wrap up the show, we're now going to share our favorite Subway Series moments. And, you know, we showed ours from, of course, the Lindor-Giancarlo Stanton head-to-head matchup 3 years ago. But I really want to know everybody's favorite ones. And definitely let us know in the chat for people on replay down below in the comments, too. Pat, for you, what is your favorite Subway Series moment to memory and why?
Okay, so listen, before Wardy hit that nice little red go live button, we were talking about it. And he was like, oh, are you going to say the 2000 Subway Series? I said, no, Wardy, I have one better. Do you want to guess what it is? Too late. It's when Luis Castillo
dropped the ball. Yes.
Beautiful pop-up.
Yes.
And dude, if you look it up on YouTube.
How old were you when that happened?
I was a 9. It was 2009, right?
Okay.
Because it was at the new Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it was 2009. A-Rod hit the pop-up. Teixeira's running around the bases. Bro, hearing the call from every single broadcast. It was just a very great moment for Yankees fans. And to be honest, that was a Mets team that was pretty good. Even though like they didn't do anything going into the year, they had pretty high expectations, and obviously the Yankees team was really good too. That 2008, no, I would say like 2007 to 2009 was a super underrated Mets era.
2007, 2009, yeah, it was a lot of falling short. The same way they 100%. Fell short mostly in 2006. You know, Carlos Beltran, Adam Wainwright, the rest is history there. That's a Mets team that a lot of us fans truly feel that if we got to the dance, we would have gotten the job done. But again, it's all about the past. Nothing about the past matters. What matters now is the present. But if we are going to stay on the topic of the past, there is a couple in particular that stand out to me in my personal fandom that I'm going to separate from the 2021 matchups. And there's one in particular, which is Ahmad Rosario hitting a bomb against the Yanks in Yankee Stadium to win a game.
Wow.
That was a fun one a couple years ago.
Weren't the Mets home?
No, this was in Yankee Stadium, I think.
No. But I think they were home at Yankee Stadium because it was a walk-off home run.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Wait, was it one of those? Yes.
I want to say so.
Yes, they split it, didn't they?
Wait, but why were the Mets home at Yankee Stadium?
Wait, I don't
It,
know. I
it
don't
was the
know.
COVID year, which like there was a bunch of weird shit. But why couldn't they
Maybe for the sake of not because they're like, did they do 4 games at Yankee Stadium? Is that why? Or am I just going stupid here? I know what you're saying though. It's hitting the tip of the tongue for
Yeah,
me.
the Mets were home at Yankee Stadium.
Okay, the Mets were home at Yankee Stadium and Rosario walked it off.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
want
that
to say
was
off of
insane.
Chapman.
Rosario, who unfortunately just it was off Chapman, I think.
Yeah,
Rosario, who just took a 100 mile per hour heater to the face from Jared Jones a couple of days ago by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Thankfully, I think he's okay. But look, we got Rosario bobblehead with the Brooklyn Cyclones right here. Look at that thing. Michael Conforto's the other one for them to high five. Two has-been Mets.
I like bobbleheads are cool.
You're talking shit on them already?
Really? No. But 99% of bobbleheads have horrible faces. Like that look nothing like the guy, bro. Like
you're
that looks nothing like.
You're telling me that doesn't look exactly like Ahmad Rosario? What are you talking about?
I have this Judge bobblehead. It looks exactly like Judge.
That's Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah, I don't know why faces are so hard.
You mean to tell me this is Pete Alonso?
What is, dude? That's Todd Frazier. That's Todd Frazier, bro.
Dude, if one of his arms is cooked, I gotta glue it back on. It fell a while ago. He's like a super polar bear in this one. All right. This is the only one. Wait, this is the one that actually looks like him.
Oh, that's cool. No, that's an awesome.
It's kind of hard to mess up Lindor with his like very pronounced facial features too.
That's a really good one. Yeah. Yo, before we wrap up though, can we make predictions like for this little 2-game series?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right.
I'll go first.
Cool.
2-game set. I think it'll be a split series, and I think the Metropolitans take game 1.
I think, yeah, it's going to be a split series. I think, however, no, I think I probably agree with you. I think
you even think we're going to win the Cole game. I love that.
No. And I don't think that's going to be as a result of Cole. I think Cole's going to face a Mets lineup that is very hot right now. And I just don't think he's going to be able to give the Yankees the length that they need. Like they're going to need Drake style length in this series.
Okay,
and I'm just not.
No,
I'm not sure. No,
Pat, this is the end of the Bridging the Gap podcast.
Let me finish.
This is
I
a terrible way to end.
Going to be able to give it.
On top of that, you're idolizing a guy that is like absolutely in the minority right now. For obvious reasons.
I'm always Team Drake.
I know you're always Team Drake, even if the allegations are held true. I'm glad.
That's not true.
I'm glad you're Team Drake. Dr. Feltland, we'll be right back.
Let's not go that far.
Okay, all right, fine. I won't. I retract the statement. You like Drake as long as those allegations aren't true. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Deal. That's fair. I can agree with that. All right, guys. That's going to do it for the live show. We said 25 minutes hard stop. It's 51 minutes into it. That's Patrick Hennessy. This is Tyler Ward. We'll be back next week. If not sooner, we'll see. Maybe we'll collaborate throughout the series. If not, no worries.
24-hour stream.
Guys again soon.
Wait. Pat, dude, let's do a 24-hour stream.
For those that don't know, Pat, he just loves to just say nonsense. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back live with post-game coverage tomorrow, the next day, and then Thursday, no post-game coverage, but we may have content out. Friday post-game, weekend post-game. I'll see you guys then. Have a great one, folks. And as always,